All right, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. I was gonna film this episode early evening last night, and in the afternoon, late afternoon, about 3 or 4, we get a statewide emergency message alert sent to our cell phones, and if you're watching TV, it would pop up on your TV, saying that the power grid was pretty much in imminent danger of collapsing. You shut off all unessential, electrical stuff you got going on where you're at now. And I think it said it 3 times: now. And very interesting. So because it was incredibly hot and humid yesterday, and it's going to be this way through Friday, from what I understand, I was just uncomfortable shooting in my workshop. I use a lot of lights. I close the doors and everything because I don't want the street noise to come through on the videotaping. So, and then in the early evening, when it was going to cool off, I was planning on filming, and now there's going to be an essential collapse of the power grid out here in California. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to film tonight. I'll just wait early in the morning. I'll wake up, grab a cup of coffee, and I'll shoot when it's nice and cool and there's plenty of electricity to go around. And that's where we're at right now. I don't even think it's 8 o'clock yet. So pretty much I'm done with the frame. As you can see here, right when we got that message around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I had an idea, and that was to put the frame up, suspend her up on these two, in this case, the tops of your shake hands of your Tamiya paint, and I put a nice big dead lead weight on top of the frame. So we're gonna check her out. Now she was in here. She's been in here 14, about 18 hours, close to 19 hours. She's been in that position there with the weight. I had the workshop fully closed, so well over 100 degrees in here and everywhere. And then we couldn't turn on our ACs because of the imminent power grid collapse. So it was interesting. So I have not come in and touched her since right now. We're going to have a fun experiment right now in the morning. First thing in the morning, what I like to do, unlike that boring science teacher we had back in high school that would just read to us from the book with no emotion. Okay, class, turn to chapter 11, read chapter 11 through 13. It should be done before you leave class, and then I have a surprise. We're not that teacher. We're the fun, cool, exciting teacher that always came and had experiments and took us on field trips, drove a 2-seater, always had some hot blonde as a girlfriend, different one every time he pulled up. That was a cool teacher, and that's what we're going to do here right now. So we're going to see if this frame had any warpage. Being in here for about almost 19 hours, propped up in the air like that with that lead weight on top. If you don't think that lead weight is well, hold on a second. Let's go ahead and check that out. How are we gonna do that? Any warpage. So I'm gonna lower the tripod a bit. Does not look like there's any warpage at all, and this is specifically, or the point, why I choose to build this way. I like to handle my models, and I like for people to handle my models, including young kids in my family and stuff, or my brother's kids, twins, or whoever. Doesn't matter. I want them to stand the test of time. So just basically, without touching the display, see if I can pull it off here. Yeah, here we go. That blue background, that's in the background on the ground. That's the surface I usually use to work on. But if you'll notice something right away, it's equally, other than it's tilted, that's not its fault. But what I'm trying to say is the frame, there's no curve to it up here. I don't see anything bowing down. So that pretty much did not bend, at least looking at it through the camera straight on like we're doing right now. I'll take the weight off. We'll do it right now. I'll put it up against a metal ruler, and we'll see what kind of daylight or not we have going through there. So we will do that. Let's prop everything up. Okay, so this is a lead block weight. I use these for a lot of my soldering, welding. I become really handy if you guys can find stuff lying around the house or your job or wherever and pick stuff up like this. This is great for squaring up pieces that you need to be square, or keeping stuff pressed down, or when I'm welding or soldering, I can lean stuff against it. I got a bunch of these. These things are heavy. So this weight sat on top of the frame for almost 19 hours in about 100-degree heat, a little under or a little over for 19 hours. It looks pretty good. Pretty gosh darn pretty good, huh? Pretty darn spot on. No warpage whatsoever. And that once again is because we use that metal or brass framework. We built up that box brass pieces and put it in there, including its cross members. And these are the styrene cross members. I had to cut the cross members in half to fit them into the already assembled piece. I forgot to do that prior, so I had to cut them in half. I'll fill that gap with putty later on, but there you go, guys. Really glad the way she came out. I'm really glad that you saw with your own eyes the benefits of doing something to one of your future models that perhaps you think would probably be helpful in your particular build for that model because of weight issues or the frame is too long or whatever reasons. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And what I wanted to show you guys, and I forgot to do this the other day in the last video we shot, the first part of this one here, is you don't have to, there's an easier way of doing this, a lot easier, actually super simple. You don't have to build up the box frame inside the way I do. What you could do is grab a piece of brass stock, a brass bar. In this case, nice thickness, nice thick piece in my case. Measure it out, cut out the links that you think you're gonna need in your frame, and you can just glue this or epoxy. I always want you guys trying to epoxy these things in, because crazy glue snaps, especially over long distances, and snaps very easily. So you can insert just this bar piece inside the frame rails. Use the original styrene cross members, and that's it. And believe it or not, that works just as good as this, and I'll give you a perfect example of that. On the project we just finished, the Ford C900 kit, believe it or not, if you haven't seen or followed any of the build on this particular kit, it's a custom job of a real of a real Ford C900 that was auctioned off, I think back in Philadelphia. Belonged to the road, the state highway crews or something like that. So this particular, both the real one and my model are heavily customized. But in particular, what I want to point it out to you is the frame on this guy here is not only short, I shortened it not only once, but twice. It's a real tiny short frame, just like the real one. I didn't think I was going to need support for the frame, but at the last second I said, you know what, let me at least get some bar, cut it, and put it in there. And that's what's in there right now. It's just a piece of bar, a thick piece. It's actually this exact piece. And look at that. I did not realize I was going to be adding a lot of weight to it, in particular with an all brass metal saddle tank, fuel tank. But it's got a lot of weight in it. And I'm glad I put those pieces in. And this piece, just the regular brass stock piece inside your frame rails, works just as well as if you build up the entire box like what we did the other day. In particular, okay, let's get rid of this. But let me, this particular Ford C900, I built it because my YouTube, the guys who have been participating with me on my YouTube channel pointed out different things, and someone said, wouldn't it be great if you could get it to work, and ideas started to come in where I had not even thought about it, a working actual lifting cab. So based on their advice and the combination of theirs and mine and different combinations, we wound up changing that build, and it's actually a working, it's sprung loaded like the real prototype. It's got 2 springs in the front, and it's got working latch mechanism, all made out of brass, including the cross member you see there. So I pull the handle. Let me see. You guys gonna see this all right? All right. Pull the handle and look what happens. Okay. So that's an example of the large concentration of knowledge and experience in the YouTube scale modeling building community. And the kind of stuff is just worth, to me, it's worth more than gold. The advice, the knowledge, and experience that these fellows pass along, especially, like always, I'm super thankful to Tom Klein, Dave Parsley, and of course Michael Cook, the inventor of the Cook Bar. But let's put this girl away and let's get back to the frame. I think we're pretty much done here. By the way, that is the Cook Bar right there. Brand new invention to the industry. One of our YouTube members here came up with that, and I'm real proud to have it on my rig. So what I did do is I did after I was sure that the frame was plumb level and square and flat, no issues of warpage, I went ahead and attached the leaf springs, the differentials, the rear axles, and the front leaf springs. Now I left off the front steering members because we're not going to use the AMT provided ones. I ordered a few sets about almost 3 years ago of white metal casting working steering your front member pieces from the outfit up in Canada, stsupply.com. These are great. They come in 124th and 125th. I don't usually like to model my models with working front steering wheels. In this particular case, every time I look at the video of the real one running around out there in Austin, she's doing donuts one way or another, spinning this way or spinning that way, and her front wheels are always turned, and that image is burned into my mind every time I think about the model that we're copying here, the real one anyways, on videotape. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to have it on my display cabinet unless those front wheels are turned like the way it's been burned into my memory. And I've seen guys turn their AMT plastic components into workable steering members. In this case, I didn't want to do that quite yet. I will do it probably down the road. I wanted the weight. These are heavy. It's white metal castings. They're white metal castings. I love the weight. So I'm doing it more because they're metal and the weight up front. Let me show you what else I've gotten. I was able to locate a couple of actual open battery boxes, and these will go, if you've seen the video, I believe these go right about here between the engine and the dump bed. They'll go right there, if you can see that. So I located those, and I also located a front bumper. This is different than the one I ordered on eBay. The picture showed something completely different, and that was no front fog lamps or driving lamp openings. It was all flat, and I got this one instead. Kind of defeats the purpose. So I may wind up building my own front bumper out of actual metal. I'm gonna goof around with that later on today probably, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna make an actual front metal bumper, because in this particular case, to get it smooth again, I gotta cut out and fill those 4 areas you see there. Then you gotta putty it and sand it, and putty and sand it, and primer, then shoot it with the Alcat or whatever method you're gonna use. It's a lot of work. Maybe it'd just be easier if I can make a metal one, but I'll experiment. If it looks decent, we'll post the videos, put it on the model, and if not, I'll just go with that particular piece there. So we lucked out. We got a real nice, good looking frame. AMT doesn't make a Freightliner short frame like what we got here. So we had to customize this. We had to relocate holes and fudge parts around and maybe put stuff where it's not on the real thing as far as cross members are concerned. But that's the only way you're going to get one of these, and that's by just trying to copy what's running around on the video screen that we're trying to model here as much as I can, as close as I can. I'm not there live, so I can't really get the details spot on, where I can compare pictures to the real thing, or model to the real thing, or model to the pictures. So my best guess in many instances on this build is going to be required, and that's okay too. I'll tell you what, I love AMT kits. I've been saying that many times. The price is right. The availability is awesome. You can find them anywhere. If you get it with a coupon or a sale, you can get them as low as like $24-25. They're not perfect. The instructions are very elementary. I said instructions. The suggestion sheets are very elementary. The smaller parts don't have any detail. They're kind of blobs. But you know what? What's the wonderful thing about AMT kit is it gives you the perfect excuse to tear into them and do what you want to do. Either keep it stock, improve on it a little bit more, or go the customized route, which is what I do, and build up as much of it as you can with whatever styrene or brass, doesn't matter. Have a blast with these. I mean, if you're at Hobby Lobby this afternoon down there shopping with your wife or your girlfriend, and she's looking for, odds and ends for the house, and you happen to walk by the AMT display there where they got all their models sitting up on those shelves and the beautiful prices, and there's something that caught your eye, and you keep giving her excuses to get away from her so you can go back to the model aisle, the model kit aisle, and keep looking at that one item that caught your eye. You must have done that about 5 times while you were at Hobby Lobby with the wifey. She's probably thinking you're chasing tail. You're chasing some broad and trying to be smooth about it. But little does she know, what you're chasing is a dream. You're getting a picture in your mind. You're envisioning. I think I talked to GT Plastics once, and he repeated how I felt at the time is you literally were not planning on buying that model ever. But at that instant, at that second, a vision appeared in your mind of what you can do with this particular thing that's sitting on the shelf in front of you at Hobby Lobby or wherever. And And that imagination is not letting go. And you can keep walking by and you're saying, oh, I can do it, man. I had to do it. I got an idea. Boom. You know what? Go back there, get that kit. Don't even think anymore. Just fess up to the wife. Say, sweetie, I'll be right back. There's a model kit I want to get before we leave. Go back and get it. As a matter of fact, don't just get it. Get 2 of them. Have a blast with this hobby. The YouTube modeling community, all the guys here on YouTube are fantastic and helpful, and just we all think the same. We all think the same and speak the same language, and that's skill model building. So all the new members that have subscribed to my channel, as YouTube gives me the names, I will thank you personally. I haven't gotten the names yet, all of them. I just know there's a few more subscribers that have hitched onto my channel here. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Let's see, like that. I think we're gonna call it a day right here. We covered pretty much everything. You saw the experiment we did. We placed the weight on top of her. We suspended her. We spanned her, and then we put the weight in dead center of the span, and no warpage whatsoever. 19 hours, or almost 19 hours, in my workshop, everything buttoned up, all windows, all doors, no AC, no nothing, because we were about to have a power collapse yesterday, and it was well over 100 degrees in here all day long. Through the evening, it cooled off maybe a tiny bit, and here in the early morning, we did our experiment. No issues whatsoever. I want to thank you guys for that, because you guys inspire me and push me along here. One thing I did want to cover real quick with you guys. Bring up. All right, let's go back to that. All right. Let me talk real quick. Once your frame is flat, you definitely, and you start adding your axles and stuff and your leaf springs. Don't assume because your frame is flat that your axles and differentials and leaf springs are gonna go on perfectly level. In many cases they're not. In my particular case, there was one little area where it did not. So what you want to do is you definitely want to measure your axles in relationship to the frame and to the surface, so everything is nice, level, and straight. And what I did here, using the AMT provided steel axle rods, I put that through the rear axle, the 2 rear axles, and I use that as my measuring my height on either end. That would tell me when the particular, in this case, axle was level to the frame. There was one area where it wasn't. I had to add a little shim there, and I got that. I did from Dave Parsley. You always have little pieces of styrene lying around the shop or under the workbench. I cut off a little piece of styrene, and I glued it right there. And how I did it, if you want to see, probably even a little better. Right there. Let me get some of these lights out of the way. So pretty much what we did there. I think I lost my picture. So you can see the metal axle sticking out from each end of the rear axle there. I suspended the model with 2 equal height pieces there that I found lying around. And then I went ahead and measured each. When I got everything squared away, I used my calipers to measure the height of each axle. And if they were identical on both sides, that means I was level and I could start gluing stuff together. There you see it's level. I can start gluing pieces together. Remember, I had to shim one little piece on there, and it's a simple setup. Basically, that's all it is. It doesn't get easier than that. It's not complicated. I'm not using expensive laser leveling equipment. It's just just basic stuff like wood blocks, and books are always great. And once again, you can use these. These are pretty squared off and stuff. And there you go. Thank you for joining me. She came out great. Now let's start. Next, we will be adding the tires and wheels to this guy and the front steering axle members that are made out of white metal casting. Thank you for joining me. You guys have an awesome rest of your week. Comment below if you wish. You have any comment suggestions or complaints. It's all good. Love you guys. You guys take care.